This deck revolves around supporter cards like Melanie and Raihan to power up the Ice Rider's attacks. Also relies a lot on Drizzile, which there are
double Drizzile in the prizes.
Yeah.
And in positions where they're probably not going to be drawn super early there.
Choice Belt, another huge card against Arceus V-Star. It's to the point where I think most of the time you'd be playing 2 Choice Belt just to make sure that you have one in your deck and you're able to draw it. I'd even consider going up to 3 in this deck, which is wild to me, but it's so important against Arceus. You just have to draw them.
Yeah, it looks like Lee does have the 2 copies, so we'll have a copy here to be able to take some knockouts before those prizes are drawn. Looks like things are starting us off here. Looks like that Ice Rider Calyrex Lee Boy is going first. Allan's gonna go ahead and take a look and say, what's this card? I haven't seen this one in a while.
Yeah, we were in a format that was dominated by both Calyrex for a while, Shadow Rider and Ice Rider. They've mostly faded away from the format. I think Shadow Rider has kind of been a casualty of having the same weakness as Mew VMAX. It's hard for Shadow Rider to keep up with Galarian Moltres, for example. So that is pretty much faded away at this point. But again, Metal-type Pokemon, not very popular at the moment. So there's an opportunity for this Ice Rider deck to come back into the format.
And on Allan's side, we're seeing the kind of classic Inteleon engine start here with the Sobble. Looks like we're going to eye up another Sobble for the bench. And kind of approaching this from Allan's side, we talked about how the Ice Rider math lines up really well to the knockouts on those Arceus. Is there anything kind of different than from the standard game plan that Allan has to do to kind of respond to that?
I think the big thing is you don't want to put down too many Pokemon V. I think you're going to go with your standard, put down 2 Arceus V-Star. But with this style of deck, after that, you really want to make sure your opponent has to go through 2 more single prize Pokemon at the end. One of the big turning points in this matchup is, you're going to try to put down an Arceus V on the first turn with an energy attachment. If your opponent is able to, like Boss's Orders, bring up the first Arceus and knock it out, you can be really far behind in a game. So you're really trying to dodge that. And then a huge card in the matchup is also Big Charm. Giving your Arceus V-Star 30 extra HP kind of neutralizes the Choice Belt. And then we'll see if Lee plays cards like Leon or Tool Scrapper to deal with that. So those are kind of the intricacies here of the matchup.
And Allan is going to go ahead and fill all 4 Sobbles here. Have hit the bench before. It looks like a professor's research coming. So, still 2 bench slots open for those Arceus V, like you said, but the kind of full suite of shady dealings could be happening over the next few turns.
Yeah, you usually got to keep calling to get 4 Sobble out, but no, just draw them all in the first turn. And yeah, the important thing will be getting the Arceus V on the bench and setting up for that turn 2 Arceus V-Star. And that's really all you're looking for. Get a bunch of Sobble down, get Arceus V down with an energy. Ideally, in this situation, get a second Arceus V down, because there is pretty decent chance that Lee could go Evolve, Attach, Boss's Orders, and knock out your only Arceus.
And it looks like Allan's actually going to have to pass with just the 1 Arceus V in place. And now passing to Lee and kind of putting the pressure on him, saying, okay, can you find what you need?
Ooh, we do
There's
see
the VMAX.
The Tool Scrapper used pretty early.
Looks like we're just opening card slots in hand for the Crobat.
Yikes, just 2 cards.
Looks like Sobble and Water Energy were the draws there. Hat to the peak.
So not the greatest sequence of events for Lee, but still going to end up with a turn 2 Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX using a Ride of the High King. Very crucial that you keep those energy on the Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX so that you can power up Max Lance on the next turn. But this doesn't look good for Allan.
See the immediate Boss's Orders on the Crobat. And was that just a pass back after the attach? Yeah, now Lee's turn. Wow. Neither of these players having their ideal setup, but looks like Lee Drizzile.
I was going to say, we're going to just see a pass back. We saw this yesterday where there was some kind of Hail Mary Boss's Orders to stall for time, and they actually did end up working out. And I thought we were going to have the same thing happen again, but Yeah, with the Drizzile, can find the Capacious Bucket, can find 2 Water Energy, retreat the Crobat, and see another Ride of the High King. And the Path to the Peak from Lee as well is a really crucial card because even if Allan draws into Arceus V-Star, will not be able to use Starbirth. So this is a really strong position from Lee right now.
Yeah, we've seen Starbirth absolutely just turn games around, you know, kind of Arceus V-Star does it all. The attack, Starbirth, energy acceleration just can be a really, really crucial card, a really crucial top deck, but not in this situation here with that path. So it looks like it's gonna, both players kind of playing off the top of their decks now, but that Drizzile just opens up so much for Lee here. A simple Capacious Bucket.
Times have changed since Professor's letter. Now you can only grab 2 Water Energy. They've only found a bucket big enough to hold 2 Water Energy, not any other type.
All right, we see that Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX return to the active spot. You can see the Melanie, of course. You can only discard 2 with the max lands, but you can attach as many as you want, of course, for the next couple turns.
Yep, see Scoop Up Net. There's no Inteleon in hand, so may as well reset the Sobble so that you can get a Shady Dealings on the next turn. And just gonna continue riding high, getting that knockout.
Yep, 4 prizes remaining for Lee. Looks like that Sobble is going to be pushed to the active spot.
Ooh.
Level Ball, wow.
All right, so this is pretty big for Allan. The hand is set up perfectly here for basically only this top deck. And wow, there's even a celebratory honk from the cruise ship for that top deck. So we can see the level ball for the Shady Dealings Drizzile here. Already has the Scoop Up Net, so we can find a stadium. You can scoop up the Drizzile, use another Shady Dealings, get the Evolution Incense for the Arceus V-Star, and unlock Starbirth. And now things are going to start to be setting up for Allan, but is facing a 2-prize deficit. Not a good spot to be in, but at least now you get to play the game.
Yeah, this is the power of Shady Dealings. I mean, just one little stage 1, you know, did all of this, allowed all this to happen. The V-Star to come down, that Starbirth to be activated, just absolutely huge. Just it's pretty crazy to call in the cruise ship. You know, that must have been pretty expensive, but you love to see it.
Yeah, we need more sound effects like that.
See the Big Charm in hand too.
And again, the Tool Scrapper was already played just to thin out the hand to draw more cards off the Dark asset. So this is going to present an awkward situation where without Tool Scrapper, you're going to need both Choice Belt and a Leon to max lands for the knockout. Now, Lee might be far enough ahead where he can just be okay with a 2-hit knockout on Arceus V-Star, but it's still going to be annoying to deal with.
Yeah, still kind of changes the math in a way that just requires you to use your resources in a non-favorable way after having to get rid of that Tool Scrapper already. Marnie as well coming down, disrupting the hand of Lee. So there's a huge turn for Allan here. Just really, you know, after that start especially, could not really ask for more.
Yep, Training Court going to get the basic Water Energy from the discard pile, attach, and then Trinity Nova. We saw Allan kind of contemplating, should I be benching another Arceus V here? This does now open up a play for Lee to go with Boss's Orders instead of having to go through the active right now. So if he's able to Boss's Orders, take out the Arceus V, then just has to get through this one Arceus V-Star to win the game. We'll see what Lee is able to put together, though.
Yeah, kind of the advantage there of taking those early prizes, just kind of getting to attach, attack, take some knockouts, really does shift the prize deficit here. Looks like Evolution Incense will be the first choice for Lee here. Maybe starting some Shady Dealings.
Yeah, this is a tricky situation. Again, the Big Charm throwing a wrench in everything, and the Marnie as well. So it looks like just going to have access to 1 Shady Dealings. There's no Choice Belt in hand, so no opportunity to go with like Leon plus Choice Belt.
Right, we do see that Shady Dealings eyeing up the Boss's Orders now. So as you said, kind of got to choose to take the knockout on the benched Arceus V, perhaps.
Yeah, there's also a Quick Ball in hand to go find another Ice Rider for the following turn. And I would guess throwing away the Marnie since there's a Raihan in hand as well.
Yeah, it looks like
This is one of those tricky spots where every decision you make here is crucial. You know, discarding the wrong card off a quick ball can really punish you on the following turn if you don't have exactly what you need. So these are the minor decisions that can change your entire game.
it looks like he thinks about the oh wait, he's tricking us. Okay, does looks like he settled on the Raihan, but actually went with the Marnie there. Raihan pretty good in over the next couple turns.
Yeah, I can't see a good situation where you'd want to play Marnie. I think that's the right choice. You are going to have to play a Melanie or a Raihan next turn to get an attack off because there's no water energy in hand. There's not even one in the discard pile for you to training court. So I think this is the right move. And Lee's going to chase prize cards here.
Yep, there's the boss's order on that bench. Arceus player shortcutting a little bit there. Just there's a quick knockout. Drizzile and Evolution Incense taken off the prizes for Lee Bui. And now just 2 prizes remaining. But has to get through this big charmed up Arceus V-Star.
Yeah, now there's a question of what do you attack with next? If you're Allan, you can see a situation where you just get knocked out and lose. It's very, very unlikely that your opponent plays a second Tool Scrapper. And you can kind of deduce that, oh, my opponent can't attack unless they play a Melanie or Raihan, which means they also can't play Leon in the turn. So you're probably safe to just leave Arceus up there. We do see Galarian Moltres come down with a Malevolent Charge, so there's an option to go with a single prize attacker here. That gets a little awkward because then your opponent just needs a boss's orders after knocking out the Moltres to win. So I know this is getting tricky. We'll see if Allan decides to leave the Arceus active and go with the Trinity Nova, or perhaps attack in with the single prize attacker and go from there.
Yeah, it's one of the situations where I think kind of just in a vacuum, you usually want to be attacking with those single prize attackers. Just giving up fewer prizes really matters, but just the HP difference is so big here where you just really don't want Lee to be able to go, okay, well, I'll just attack, knock you out, and then boss's order the next turn. You know, you really want to put the pressure on, and it feels like a situation to me where this Arceus V-Star can soak up a hit and kind of just force the boss for the next turn if that's how Lee's going to do it. Because as you said, does need that energy acceleration supporter with either the Melanie or the Raihan to be able to attack next turn. Second Galarian Moltres off the quick ball.
Yeah, perhaps that may signal that we're going to see back-to-back attacks with the Galarian Moltres, but we'll see.
Yeah, one, that Malevolent Charge you see loading up the benched Moltres, 2 Darkness Energy already, just for free, you know, right from the hand.
Yep, and Allan just asking, have I used Training Court? Doesn't look like it, but there are no basic energy in the discard pile currently.
Yeah, these long turns can just be really confusing when you're shady dealings and you're getting out various Pokemon, Quick Ball, Ultra Balls, just a lot going on. But yeah, as the players figured out, that was the first action he took, and there is a 3 prize knockout here for Allan.
Now the big question for Lee is, what do you attack with here? You could go with the Ice Rider, but you could also go with Inteleon with the Raihan in hand. You can power up an Aqua Bullet and try to go for a 2-hit knockout on this Arceus V-Star. It gets a little awkward because you're going to have to Raihan on the next turn, which means you wouldn't be able to chase down the Arceus V-Star with the boss's orders. So I still think we're going to see the Ice Rider get powered up, but there is always that thought process. You can power up Inteleon and use Aqua Bullet in this deck.
Absolutely, and it looks like we are seeing that commitment to the Ice Rider Calyrex V with that Raihan here. Raihan, one of the kind of best comeback supporters, or when your Pokemon's been knocked out, you kind of get a little bit of an advantage there, and really has allowed a lot of these decks in the current format to kind of have a place and be able to have those turns where they're just, maybe it's just one turn where they're attaching 1 extra energy and really just kind of shifts how the decks can play.
Do see an escape rope from Lee. This is a card that would allow him to get a single prize knockout this turn and make it so that he just needs a boss's orders to win on the following turn. So this is one way to deny the potential Charon's Care out from the Arceus player. Also keeps your energy in play. So this is a heads up move Escape Rope. I think not a card we see a lot of in these Ice Rider decks, but can be useful in these kinds of situations where your opponent is probably weary of, benching too many big targets, and sometimes there's just easy knockouts you can get with Escape Rope.
Yeah, kind of, build your own boss's orders here in a way, and it looks like we are going to see the Galarian Moltres be added or move to the active spot, rather. Of course, Lee will make the switch as well.
Yep, basically saying I value the flexibility of having Sobble and Drizzile over having the Galarian Moltres in play.
Well, that's one of the beautiful things about Malevolent Charge, too, is it really allows you to just go, okay, well, whatever. As long I have another one, as long as I can find the energy, maybe I have a Clara, something like that, I can just power this up in one turn. That's really the power of the Moltres, why we've seen it kind of just be such a good tech attacker in this Arceus deck and other Darkness variants throughout this format.
Yep, so now we're going to see Lee use Shady Dealings for 2 cards. Going to see a Scoop Up Net plus a Level Ball, just trying to get more Sobble down for the next turn. Try to defend against any potential Marnie and set yourself up to have Shady Dealings on the following turn. Right now, there's no Water Energy in hand, but there is the Training Court to get a Water from the discard pile. And I think there's already the VMAX in hand as well. Ride of the High King is actually not enough for a knockout, so we'll have to see a Max Lance. But I think just discarding 1 energy. So this game plan looks good right now for Lee.
Yep, there is the VMAX. There is a Training Court energy. Going to start the Scoop Up train a little early here. And then, like you said, we do need that 1 energy, 1 prize remaining for Lee Bui here.
Yep, so at this point, it's going to be all about finding boss's orders for Lee. I don't think there's any way for Allan to get a clean knockout on the active VMAX right now. We have seen recently some players start to use Leon in their Galarian Moltres decks. With Choice Belt and Leon, you can actually get up to enough damage to get a knockout here, but I don't think this is the deck that's playing Leon. So
right.
This VMAX is probably safe right now, and we'll see what happens.
It looks like we had the Shady Dealings and Teleon there for 2 Pal Pads. Looks like that shuffled back for a Pal Pad. That shuffled back 2 Boss's Orders. Seeing the Scoop Up Net here.
Saw Marnie as well, realizing that my opponent has Drizzile in hand because they played Scoop Up Net, so I have to play Marnie. Otherwise, they're just going to find Boss's Orders and beat me next turn. The other interesting option, if you had access, is to Scoop Up Net all of your single prize Pokemon and just leave yourself with Arceus V-Star in play. Doesn't seem like Allan has enough Scoop Up Nets to pull that off, but that is another option.
Seeing the Evil Tall here.
Don't think that one's going to get used here.
Not something you see every day. And there is the second Arceus V coming down.
Yep, just trying to thin things out because there is a Marnie incoming. Want to make sure that you maximize your odds of drawing Boss's Orders on the next turn, because your game plan here, hit into this active, hope your opponent doesn't draw Boss's Orders, and then next turn you get to finish them off by taking another 3 prize knockout.
All right, and here we go. This is kind of the moment of truth here. The Marnie putting all those Inteleons, the Drizziles on the bottom of Lee's deck. 4 cards for him. Can he find that Boss's Orders double turbo on the Arceus V?
Yep, and that Training Court is going to backfire for Allan as well, because it's going to make it guaranteed that Lee does have an energy for the next turn. If there was some way to bump the Stadium, that would be another very disruptive card here. And do we find Boss's Orders?
Looks like we have Ultra Ball. I believe that was.
I do believe you are correct.
So should be simple here. Ultra Ball for the Drizzile, Shady Dealings.
There we go.
Does find the boss and then just extends the hand. You know he has a Training Court as well. So game 1 for Lee Bui and that Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX deck. Really showing just kind of what that deck is, trying to do. Just I need to play Melanie, I need to play Raihan, take some easy knockouts.
Yeah, it was a rough start for Allan. Went second. Didn't have a good start at all. And made the game pretty close given how rough it was at the beginning. Didn't get to attack with Arceus V-Star until like the third or fourth turn of the game. And still forced Lee to have the game-winning boss's orders at the end. So you can see how there is a path to victory.
Absolutely.
For this Arceus V-Star deck. Maybe now going first, getting a turn to attack off with Arceus V-Star, things can look a lot different.
Yeah, I mean, Lee had to take 4 one-prize knockouts that game, and like you said, really rough start from Allan. You want to see, that turn 2 Arceus V-Star Starburst start attacking. Things can be very, very different with just a few different, few better cards there for Allan.
Definitely, and we're at this point in the tournament where ties are worthless for you, so you're definitely pushing for match wins at this point. Got to think at this point the players have that in the back of their mind. Urgency is key. Got to play these games quickly and make sure that there's a decisive winner.
Absolutely. Both of these players, again, are not exactly on the winning end. They are trying to kind of string together some wins here to make the top 8. So ties absolutely worthless. They just need win-win in order to kind of do what they came here for. I think every player aspires to make the top 8 here when they enter a regional championship.
Yeah, we did see a mulligan from Allan there, and actually revealed the Charon's Care in the mulligan, so it was an option that could have backfired had Lee tried to go for the plan of 2-hit knockout on the Arceus V-Star. So now Lee does have the information. Oh, that card is in your deck. I know about it, and I can play around it.
Yeah, big piece of information there. Might kind of seem minor. Don't think about what you're revealing off of mulligans too much, but can actually really change the course of a game.
Yeah, it's something that can really improve your gameplay. Yeah, like you said, it's very easy to just say, oh yeah, you don't have a basic Pokemon, sure. But mulligans are information, especially in a long tournament setting like this. You should look at every card that's in your opponent's mulligan and keep track of, oh, you have this card in your deck. Sometimes it's just a bunch of energy and cards that are in their deck, but every once in a while they reveal a tech card, or they reveal multiple copies of a card that we wouldn't expect them to have normally.
Yeah, definitely. At the top levels like this, when you're playing at the final couple rounds of a regional championship, you're trying to squeeze out kind of every little advantage you can, and paying attention to the information your opponent's giving you in a variety of ways is really, really important in it. It might seem minor. Again, it probably doesn't come up more than maybe once a tournament, but sometimes it really, really can matter.
Yeah, these are the things that the best of the best players are thinking about. So just little ways to improve your game. You're looking for any small edge that you can.
Absolutely. So it looks like Allan's going to go ahead and end the turn here with 2 Arceus, 2 Sobble, but no energy attachment.
Yeah, that's rough. I think there are ways for him to power up an Arceus V-Star in one turn, maybe like an energy switch, or I don't think Melanie in this deck list, but there are ways to do it, but now it's going to make it a lot harder. You're going to need more combo pieces just to pull off an attack. So, yeah, missing that energy attachment hurts. On the other side, Lee going to get a couple Sobble. And I think all he's really going to be looking for is an attachment to the Ice Rider Calyrex V. It's actually really comforting knowing that it's unlikely for your opponent to be able to string together the big Choice Belt Boss's Orders, knock out your V. It's still possible, but normally you'd feel under a lot more pressure if there was an energy on the active. It would feel very likely that you're going to get hit by Boss's Orders, Choice Belt, Trinity Nova for exactly 210, and take out your V before it gets to evolve. So normally there would be a big priority on getting a second V down on this turn, but here maybe not as much. I think you still want to go for it if you can, but it seems less likely for anything bad to happen.
Yeah, and it looks like there is no energy for that attachment there for Elise. It looks like he paused for a moment and then has to play the Marnie here. So we'll see if these 5 cards, if he does find the energy off these 5. We'll have to see what's left in Allan's hand. At turn 1, I mean, we know that he didn't have an energy, but turn 1's gonna be hands gonna be kind of weird to deduce because you can't play supporter card. Ooh, shipping it back. Looks like, was that top deck evolution in sense?
I think so. Yeah, interesting. Lee did not bench a second Ice Rider Calyrex V. So if Allan is able to go with a huge play here of like Galarian Moltres, Energy Switch, Double Turbo, Boss's Orders, Choice Belt. I mean, it's a ton of cards to draw off a 4-card Marnie. You do have Starburst to get 2 of those cards, but if he is able to pull off that huge combo, It's not quite game over, but it's pretty close. It's devastating. It's hard to come back from that.
Yeah, I mean, it basically puts Lee on such the back foot here with no guaranteed no VMAX the next turn if that's what ends up happening. Just Lee choosing to take that risk, I guess, not just going with the one single V in play here.
Yeah, we'll see what Allan is able to pull off, though. It is going to require many cards to pull off a Trinity Nova on this turn. And we're talking Trinity Nova plus a Choice Belt and a Boss's Orders. So
yes,
2 cards on top of what's already a very convoluted thing to have.
Yeah, very unlikely to happen, but again.
Especially when your hand is the 3 Darkness Energy.
Okay, yeah, so that evolution in sense did come in huge here. As we see it grab the Arceus V-Star. Looks like I'm going to see an evolution here, just deciding whether it's active or benched. Of course, does have access to that V-Star power there.
Yep, and this may just be conceding the fact that there's not going to be a Trinity Nova, but there can be a Trinity Charge this turn. So you evolve the bench one, Starbirth, so that you can attach a double turbo to the active and use Trinity Charge and at least accelerate some energy. Even if you're not attacking for damage, at least you're advancing your board for the next turn.
Yeah, suboptimal starts for Allan here to be sure in both of these games. Oh, no, looks like...
Never mind.
All right.
I think maybe what factors in here is you are discarding 3 Darkness Energy, so there's a chance that you just don't have enough energy to Trinity Charge. There's also just, maybe a risk you take where you say, I don't want to commit this to my active, but there's still a world where I can draw well off this Professor's Research and pull off a Trinity Nova. Also, the odds of my opponent having, the VMAX energy, like a Scoop Up Net, Boss's Orders, Choice Belt to punish this play, that's all pretty low odds. So again, both players just kind of taking calculated risks.
Yeah, definitely. Now we are seeing that shady dealings here. Looks like eyeing up that Clara.
3 energy did just hit the discard pile.
Oh, sorry, the Clara was in hand, I think. It looks like it's finding an air balloon. Sometimes hard to tell what the opponents or what the players are looking through here.
Yep, so air balloon seems reasonable. You don't want to give a free 2-prize knockout if you can help it. So at the very least, just getting this out of the active spot, forcing your opponent to have something.
And that's exactly what happens. Air balloon to the active, retreat, and a pass of the turn back to Li Bui here. So Ice Rider needs a VMAX, a way to move the Sobble out of the active spot. Another energy attachment, of course. Looks like we're going to start things off with an Ultra Ball.
Yeah, basically, as long as you have access to a Drizzile, you should be able to do something this turn. Because you can Drizzile on the active, grab a Scoop Up Net, scoop it up, play down the Drizzile on the other Sobble, grab something else. It looks like Lee's going to get a little more aggressive with this and go for Crobat V. Maybe trying to dig for the home run, right? Get all the Boss's Orders, the Choice Belts, everything.
Yeah, I think Lee can choose to play out his hand here. Ultra Ball discarded Raihan and Basic Water. Other cards are that second Ice Rider Calyrex V we talked about and another Basic Water. So just going to kind of see the full setup here in the full Dark Asset.
All right, need to find a Drizzile off of these 6 cards.
Looks like an Evolution Incense is what. Yeah,
okay.
Definitely Evolution Incense. Okay,
that'll do.
We do see that Evolution Incense come down. Gotta believe it's gonna find a Drizzile and then start kind of the. Oh, it's gonna find the Calyrex VMAX.
Okay.
Is it a Scoop Up Net in hand as well?
There is, yeah.
Okay.
Interesting that there wasn't a Drizzile first, though. I mean, it seems like a good opportunity to just grab an extra trainer card out of your deck. Maybe at this point, just out of Evolution Incense, or wants to conserve those for later. If you don't have an Evolution Incense in your deck, then you couldn't grab Drizzile and then grab another card for it.
Right. I think we're seeing that Quick Ball get rid of a Capacious Bucket here. Or a Pal Pad. Gets the, was that Marnie Raihan, I believe?
I think so, yeah.
Sobble being added to the hand, of course.
And then Lee also opted to keep Path to the Peak as one of the cards. Starbirth has already been used, so I'm not sure how useful Path to the Peak will be at this point. You could potentially block something like Galarian Moltres V if you think your opponent is playing that, or Crobat V or something like that. But otherwise, I can't imagine Path to the Peak's too useful at this point, but we are going to see Professor's Research. I had forgotten that no supporter card had been played yet, so that makes sense.
Right, between dark assets and shitty dealings and all that, it can be difficult. And there is a scoop up net
There we go.
for the Sobble. And go ahead and send High King into the active spot.
It will ride again. So definitely going to see this Sobble go down. That means Allan will get the first hit into the VMAX with Trinity Nova. And this is where everything's going to start to pick up. There's no room for error at this point for either player. There's going to be large attacks fired back and forth for the rest of this game.
Yeah, all right, Arceus V with the air balloon becomes an Arceus V-Star. And we're kind of in the position that we've been talking about with this kind of Ice Rider Calyrex deck versus the Arceus V-Star, where two hit the Calyrex. The Calyrex can theoretically one hit you with enough options here. Allan taking his time to think through this play. Really big moments here. Again, trying to keep your tournament dream alive, basically. Playing for the opportunity to play again to win and make the top 8.
Yeah, there's the quick shooting Inteleon in hand, and your first instinct is just to evolve your Pokemon, but may want to keep that open for the shady dealings Inteleon. I think the big card Allan's trying to get here is the Big Charm. They're just trying to make it as difficult as possible for Lee to get a knockout. Other things you could consider, now that there's 2 Vs on the bench, you could try to chase down prizes. I don't think that's going to go well, because at some point you're going to have to go through this VMAX. There's a lot of decisions to be made here. Got to think the Big Charm is what Allan is looking for, though, just to make it less likely that the V-Star gets knocked out.
And we see the Ultra Ball come down, find the Shady Dealings Giselle, which finds the Professor's Research. So kind of saying, well, I do need to find the Big Charm, but I might need to find some other cards along with it.
Yep.
Training Court bumps the Path to the Peak.
Well, we are going to see quick shooting. And yes, 7 cards off the Professor's Research. Training Court will guarantee that there's an energy card, so no need to worry about that.
And the Big Charm I see in hand as well. Those 3 Darkness Energy were discarded earlier with the, or can be found off the Training Court rather.
Also finds the Palpad. Maybe a card you want to play now, although going up against an Ice Rider deck, Marnie isn't too common, although I did see in the first game Lee did throw some Marnie in the discard pile a couple times, so this may be a point where you just get out ahead of it and Palpad. Maybe you put your Clara back in, maybe another supporter, or you can always hold on to it for later and try to get the maximum flexibility for it.
We are going to see that big charmed up, that fully built up Arceus V-Star coming in Trinity Nova. The Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX there, loading up the benched Arceus V-Star with those energy.
And this is where that Tool Scrapper is going to come in. If Lee can find Tool Scrapper plus the Choice Belt, can max Lance for the knockout. Go down to 3 prize cards and keep the momentum moving. I think at this point, if Lee just continues to draw everything in the correct order, I think this Ice Rider deck is favored from this position, but there's going to be a lot more pressure on Lee's side to draw the correct cards as we progress through the game.
Did we see the quick shooting this turn? Or on Allan's last turn?
I don't think so.
Yeah, well.
May have been a missed opportunity. I was trying to think of where that damage would even go. I'm not sure if it's even entirely relevant.
Right.
I think maybe if it went on the benched Ice Rider, you can start to accumulate damage on it so that you can set up for a Moltres play at the end of the game. So that could end up being relevant later. But yeah, it looks like Allan did miss the opportunity for that quick shooting.
Lee starting things off here. First play was the Melanie, just accelerating some energy onto that benched Ice Rider Calyrex, and then we are seeing that evolution incense for the Drizzile for the Tool Scrapper. I do think he has the Choice Belt in hand.
I would assume so, at least a way to search for it at the very least. And then we see the old school Tool Scrapper.
Yes.
The original.
There is that belt, so allowing the knockout to occur here with them. And we already have the second Calyrex V set up, so could be a quick path to victory for Li Bui here.
Yep, still hasn't attached for the turn yet. I assume the attachment will be going on to the benched Ice Rider. And then we'll see the Ultra Ball could go for the VMAX. Just going to see a Drizzile for now. And also, just past to the peak, getting rid of the training court, saying, you know what? I don't want you to have this in play. I don't want it to be easy for you to get Galarian Moltres powered up later.
No funny business, you know. Nothing. Let's keep each other honest here.
All right. Lee also did choose to Tool Scrapper away the air balloon. That does open up a possibility for Allan to attach a different tool now. So we could see something like a Choice Belt maybe come in at some point. I don't think there's a second big charm, but that's always something to keep in mind. Yes, it's nice to discard your opponent's Pokemon tool, but it also means they can attach a different one. So always things to keep in mind. And did Lee attach an energy for the turn?
Nope, I think that the benched energy was Melanie.
Okay.
So none.
All right. Maybe just didn't have one to attach. Maybe just felt comfortable knowing that there was one in play. But either way, now it's back on Allan's turn. Down 3 prize cards, but there is an easy 3 prize knockout straight ahead as long as there's an energy card. And we'll see what kind of game plan Alex can put together. This deck is capable of explosive comebacks with the fiery wrath of Galarian Moltres.
Of course.
Training court is gone, and I believe the Clara in the discard pile as well.
Yes.
And we do see the quick shooting this time, hitting the benched Ice Rider.
Yeah, perhaps softening it up for future turns. We see that double turbo attached to the active Arceus V-Star as well.
At this point, if you're Lee, this has got to be nerve-wracking. Obviously, you're trying to win, but you kind of probably have a sense in the back of your mind that this has taken quite a while and that this game is very important. You know, if Allan takes this one, it's not guaranteed, but it's pretty likely that there's going to be a tie in this round, and neither player can afford that if they're trying to make it into the top 8 at this point. So if you're Lee, this is basically a win or go home situation. You know, a tie's about the same as a loss if your goal is to make the top 8 here. So the pressure is on to make sure you can close this series out.
Yeah, extremely high pressure here as you want a kind of a long game one as we settle around 12 minutes left in the round. We did see that Clara get shuffled back off that PAL pad along with a professor's research, so could come into play a little bit later. But yeah, Lee just has to be feeling the pressure here. Neither of these players want a tie. They both want to make the top 8, and you know, only one of them can do it.
Unfortunately, yeah, that is the case at this point. So Marnie from Allan going to try to disrupt Lee's hand a bit, prevent him from drawing the cards he needs on the next turn. And we'll see what comes up next.
Yeah, only 4 cards for Lee. I do see Capacious Bucket. I do see the Calyrex VMAX, so definitely has some options. Here's the knockout, big 3 prizes for Allan.
Yeah, for Lee, obviously you want to get the VMAX out this turn, you know, with another Choice Belt, take down the Arceus V-Star, but I think the game might be in Allan's hands at this point with enough quick shooting. If Lee takes the knockout here, we'll go down to 1 prize card, which unlocks a pretty big Fiery Wrath from Galarian Moltres. So if you're Lee, I think you may be considering digging for boss's orders here. Try to take a 1 prize knockout instead of a 2 prize knockout. That way you're out of range of the Fiery Wrath, and you don't really have to worry about getting knocked out on this following turn, because it is possible, I think, for that to happen.
Looks like we do see that Drizzile come down, Shady Dealings for the Choice Belt. So Lee just setting up for another Arceus V-Star knockout here, perhaps?
Looks like it also, there's a Marnie in hand, so could go ahead with, knock out the active and Marnie and say, look, it's really unlikely for you to knock me out of the next turn.
Right. Just put them on as few cards as possible. And boss's order for perhaps for the next turn for Lee here.
Not the best hand on the other side.
So Galarian Zigzagoon.
Yeah, I don't think there's a Galarian Moltres in the discard pile. There's a Clara in hand. I don't know, this is going to be a tough one. Lee does go down to 1 prize card, so just 1 more knockout would be the game. Ooh, level ball top deck. That could be a difference maker.
If that can find an out to the Galarian Moltres, we have the Clara already in hand. We see that immediate quick shooting ping on the active Calyrex V there.
Yeah, 5 prize cards have been taken, so Fiery Wrath does 270. I mean, it is very possible for Galarian Moltres to come in and Fiery Wrath for the win. You still got Scoop Up Nets, got Zigzagoon. So yeah, at this point, if a Galarian Moltres gets powered up, I think you could see a 3 prize knockout. Question is just, does Allan have the resources to do it?
Yeah, we are going to see that level ball get committed here. Allan taking a look through his deck, trying to piece together what exactly he can do here. Can he get the knockout?
It's going to be tough given what's in the hand. If there were a Moltres in the discard pile, I think it would be possible. I can't tell. I think it was the Yveltal that was in the discard pile, not the Moltres.
Yeah, I think that got discarded earlier. Yeah, I think that's the Yveltal. Both players consulting the discard pile of one another, just kind of trying to find out what resources each of them has used. Really high pressure moment here. There's a Drizzile.
Yeah, and if you're Allan, if you can't get the knockout here, the question becomes, do I try to disrupt my opponent with a Marnie or something like that? We do see Clara, though. You get back the 2 Darkness Energy and can get back 2 Pokemon as well. Don't know which Pokemon are options, just the Yveltal and the Sobble. That's the wrong Darkness bird you're looking for.
Unfortunately, that is the case here. There is that Shady Dealings coming down.
So you can get Evolution Incense for a Shady Dealings Inteleon. I don't know if that quite does it. There's a Quick Ball. Grab the Moltres, which can get powered up. Only 2 energy in hand, I think. I just think it's a little bit short.
Also, no way to move the Inteleon, right? Yeah, he just has to pass back to Lee.
Yeah, and I think we just need a Melanie and a Water Energy. And this is going to be over. This is going to be the Ice Rider deck, as long as there are cards in deck to pull this off.
And we see the immediate Evolution Incense pulls an Inteleon with that Shady Dealing to the front. Now, do we see Melanie out to an energy? There's the Scoop Up Net. There's the Marnie.
Okay, I don't think there's any way to find a Water Energy. And that... So I think Lee's just trying to thin the deck out of as many cards as possible so that when Melanie is played, there are pretty high odds that you draw a Water Energy.
Sure, no Capacious Buckets left.
Yep.
Then Evolution Incense and Quick Ball. Looks like there are
this is all
maybe?
This is all assuming that there's a Melanie in hand already, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, wow. I mean, you would assume at this point you have a bunch of uses of Shady Dealings. You should be able to do something, right? But sometimes you just run out of trainer cards that search for the thing you need.
Yeah, it looks like we are just seeing is this the third Shady Dealings of the turn here? Getting as many cards as possible. We do have the Melanie in hand.
Drizzile as well.
Drizzile as well coming back down.
Let's see. There's 3 water energy left. It is possible to miss. I think there's about 8 cards.
Yeah, I think Lee can quick ball for the last Ice Rider, and then that puts him at 7 cards, and he's drawing 3, I think, something like that.
Okay, it's certainly not guaranteed. Another quick ball.
I don't think there was another
3 out of 7.
3 out. Okay, well, well, we'll see what we can put together here. Lee just confirming that there are no more options. All right.
This is a huge sweat.
Definitely. Lee did everything he could, thinned his deck out as much as possible, got the last basic out, got all of those items out, but no more cards now. It's just all in the RNG.
All right. Now, there's no guarantee that Allan wins, even if Lee misses here. His hand didn't look great, but if you're Lee, you just don't want it to come to that.
No, absolutely not.
You just want to draw the water energy, right? Just get this over with.
All right, here we go. Melanie, Patch of the Active. 1, 2, 3. He's gonna hide him from us.
What?
1, 2. Oh, the last card. All right.
Oh.
So there's the water energy. Lee Bui and the Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX deck will be victorious. Had to play it out to the very last moment there. Found the last water energy he needed.
Congrats to Lee on a hard-fought win there. And yeah, you can see just why every little thing matters at the end of a game. You got to thin your deck out as much as you can. Every little percentage adds up when it comes to the end of the game. You know, if Lee hadn't thinned out every single possible trainer and Pokemon from the deck, maybe that third card is, you know, the Ice Rider V that's still in the deck, and you missed the game-winning attack. So excellently played at the end there. Maximize the odds of hitting the water energy, and there you go. Getting a win and potentially staying in top 8 contention. Maybe just one more win, and we could see an Ice Rider